Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. We've still got a few people joining, but we're going to get going because we're nearly at 4:05. So today's webinar is introducing Similarweb 3.0 specifically and how you can use it to take your SEO and PPC strategies to the next level. I'm Adele, and I'm your host today. I'm Director of Product Marketing and Content here at Similarweb, but the real stars of our show are our panel. So let me introduce them. We have Baruch Toledano. He is our VP of Marketing Solutions. He's the ex-CPO of Conductor and head of product at e-commerce giant Magento, well, ex-head of product. He's with us now. So he's very passionate and experienced in making products for marketers that work for marketers. Next up, we have Gabrielle Elfassy. She is our product marketer. She's our product manager at Similarweb, responsible for our digital marketing solution. And this year, she's been the brains behind our latest two features, Rank Tracker and Brand Protection, which we will talk through later in today's webinar. And then we're joined by two amazing external speakers today. First up is Kev Strong. Kev has over 20 years strong digital marketing experience. Sorry for the pun there, Kev. Working agency side for clients such as Ralph Lauren, Kath Kidson, June, GSK. He's also an associate lecturer at Northumbria University and York St John University here in the UK, delivering SEO modules for digital marketers. And we've got Jen Kelly. So Jen is head of campaign management at Search Laboratory, one of the world's most successful agencies. Jen has over 10 years experience in digital marketing, starting from search marketing and now going into more of a holistic leadership role. She works across industries and leads the digital strategy and campaign implementation for her clients. So we've got a strong lineup for you today. And what we're going to cover is firstly, about Similarweb. So if you are a customer of ours, we're going to tell you about what's new. If you're new to Similarweb, we're going to tell you who we are. Then we're going to go into Kev and Jen. So they're going to talk about how they use Similarweb for their respective companies and how they use it to drive impact. Then we're going to have a panel discussion on SEO and PPC and how they can work better together. And finally, we'll give you a behind-the-scenes look at Similarweb 3.0 with Gabby and Baruch, some really cool information about how the Google landscape is changing and how we've developed products to keep up with that. And of course, there will be a Q&A at the end, so any questions you have, pop in the chat, and we will answer them at the end. But first, I want to start with a poll. So we all know that 2023 has not been an easy year. So in terms of acquisition, whether that's traffic acquisition, lead generation, what has been your biggest challenge that you faced in 2023? So please answer. The poll should be up on your screen now. And while all of the audience is answering, I'd like to move this to our panel. Jen, I'm going to come to you first because you work agency side, so you're responsible for clients. I imagine you've had a challenging year. So what's some of the big challenges you've seen?
Yeah, so I think from an agency perspective, one of the main challenges I've seen is that it's still a really difficult year for a lot of businesses, and that's actually put a lot of pressure on the marketing budgets that we have available. So I think what it means is that clients are asking us for a lot more guidance on finding opportunities in that market and really understanding what competitors are up to. It also plays into clients asking about what their market share looks like in the search space and how and whether or not they're capitalizing on opportunities where they can as well. So a few different challenges this year.
Plenty of challenges, and that actually plays into limited budget, which is leading our poll at the moment. And Kev, from your side, what have you seen as a big challenge?
I think from our perspective, we have to cover so many different touch points from the user journey, from people who have no idea what they want to buy, or an automotive company, what type of car they want to buy, right the way through to knowing exactly what they want. So we have to factor in things such as localized search and content. So I think it's just a shift in consumer behavior. People went from going into lockdown where they couldn't go to a dealership to actually see a car. So we invented click to drive to allow people to buy a car online. And then ultimately, you know, dealerships are open up again, and you've gone back to people who are browsing online and you know, looking for information about cars. You know, the whole user journey just keeps changing. We just need to make sure that we're at the forefront of that, because competitors are evolving, the market's evolving, and in terms of automotive, it just continues to grow and grow.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's more competitors than ever, and obviously we monitor the online space, and we're really seeing that shift in consumer behavior. There's a great study out there at the moment that Gen Z, for instance, are using TikTok as a search engine rather than Google as a search engine. So as marketers, we always need to be at that forefront. Baruch, just from your point of view, I know actually you've been speaking at Baruch, maybe you've seen him, he's been at HubSpot's Inbound, and he's been at Demexco talking about marketing in turbulent times. So Baruch, what's the biggest challenge that you've heard from fellow marketers when you've been at these places?
Yeah, thank you. I think we're facing both new challenges that just mentioned here before. Consumer changes constantly evolve, but actually some old challenges we had even internally, because budgets have been scrutinized very heavily. And so we need to come with very good backup of data to really show, will it work, will it not work, and really setting expectation in setting the bars of what is the possibilities. And then the second thing, we can't fall in love in one tactic, or one channel. And that's definitely something I hear for more and more folks who are, well, they can't count quite, because either the challenge is changing, or the channels themselves are changing, or the consumer preference is actually evolving. So definitely it's tough. And you know, increasing the competition is definitely one of the key things. New entrants are coming into the market.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually that's reflected in the poll from all of you watching. So limited budget is leading the way. And I think probably everyone has heard the phrase do more with less this year. But increasing competition is nearly up there as well. And then we've obviously got decreased customer demand as well, and shifting consumer behavior. So everyone's experiencing these challenges. So we're with you. Here at Similarweb, one of our, if we could stop sharing the poll, one of our core things is that most challenges can not necessarily always be solved, but they can be helped by data. So our mission, Baruch, if you can change, yeah, our mission is to equip marketing teams with the best digital data and toolkits to grow their traffic and win their market. We believe good data can help even in making smart budget decisions, and especially in seeing changing consumer demand and seeing that landscape. And actually, data is what we're best known for. So we're known for measuring the digital world, and top publications rely on Similarweb data. We're seen in the press most days, and we're also appreciated by top marketers. I know that this is very much a marketing talk today, so hopefully you guys recognize this man and this mustache. It's Rand Fishkin, and he's got a quote that we absolutely love here at Similarweb, but it's about the robustness and the accurate information online. And we're very happy to have him as an ambassador for us. And it's not just Rand. We were actually featured on the Jimmy Kimmel Show recently, and Elon Musk even entered into a conversation on Twitter, or I should say X now. So love him or hate him, the Similarweb data is out there. And it's not just our data, it's our platform as well. So we offer what we like to call 360-degree digital intelligence. We've got tools for competitive analysis, market research, audience analysis, website analysis, and performance marketing. So we know that, you know, we talk about SEO and PPC, but in SEO and PPC now, that you do need to do market research, you need to do audience analysis. These channels have evolved, the people working in them have evolved. And we back all of that up with our data. So our data is based on real user data, and therefore it's fresh, it's as it happens. And you can slice and dice it as you like. It's pretty granular in the way that you use it. But just to give you some top line figures, we cover 100 million websites, 8 million apps. And we really pride ourselves on turning that data into actionable insights. So we're trusted by the likes of Google, Adobe, Walmart, lots of big companies and lots of small companies too. But today we're here because we've launched something new. So we're entering the world of Similarweb 3.0 now, where we recognize, we saw that in the poll, that times are tougher now than ever. 2023 is definitely marketers' hardest year yet, but we've developed our platform, so we're giving even more data and even more tools. So we're unlocking more growth opportunities, efficiency, and ultimately ROI for marketing teams. So before we get into the big details, I'm going to give you a quick high-level overview of what we've got. For 3.0, we've introduced a rank tracker. So we know rank tracking is nothing new, but our rank tracker is. We watch Google so you don't have to. We've got our own in-house parser, so we keep up to date with all of the new SERP features. Gabby is going to give you a lot more detail on this later, but it's a very, very cool feature. We've got brand protection, which is almost the rank tracker for the PPC world. So we spot when your top keywords are being bid on by competitors, no matter who those competitors are, big or small. Competitive tracker, I'm going to go into a sec. So we've also released more data, like I said. So we've got fresher data. We're actually the only tool now to have the last 28 days search volume, which is particularly useful for SEO and PPC teams. So every tool under the sun will give you monthly search volume. We do that as well. We do it better than them, but I'm not going to go deep dive into the data. But what we now do is give you the last 28 days data and whether search volume is increasing, declining, in line with what's happening in the world. And like I think, Kev, you mentioned, the world is moving so quickly, consumer demand and preferences are changing. So we think that this is a really, really, really big news in the SEO industry and PPC. So if you haven't checked out our keyword generator in the last few days, please do check it out because you can see that fresh data. We've also got more data. So we talked about increasing competition. I think 35% of you said that was your biggest challenge. We recognize that. In fact, estimates vary, but we put it at around there's 250,000 websites created every day. The barrier to entry in the digital world is extremely low. And so Similarweb recognized that. We've just introduced really granular data for another 60 million websites. And these are all small websites. So they're websites with under 5,000 visitors. So you can see the exact amount of traffic they get, the engagement metrics, and all other marketing metrics as well. And finally, data access. I am what you would call a standard basic person consuming data. So I just want it in my platform, but the rest of you, we've got data feeds, we've got APIs, we've got downloads, however you want the data, however you want to slice and dice it. We've introduced loads of new ways of doing that. So before we get into Kev and Jen's examples of how they use Similarweb, there's one feature I want to share with you, which we're really, really proud of. And it's we've revamped our competitive tracker. So if you don't use Similarweb, or if you do use Similarweb, whatever you do, you need a competitive tracker in your life. And the reason is that here, what we do is we can track competitive sets for up to 25 competitors. And this is so important because it contextualizes your performance on every single marketing channel. So say that you work just in organic, say you work just in paid, it doesn't really matter. You can put these competitors, any of your competitors in, and every month we update you as to how you're performing against that competitive set. So 1 month you may decline in your traffic. Fine. Your CMO may say, why have you declined in traffic? You may then look at the competitive set. They've declined far more than you have. So actually, in context, you've done really well. This way, we give you the information about what's going on in your market, as well as performance information about traffic. We will also tell you if your competitors are trending for any new keywords, any new topics. You can see on the screen here, we even show you if they're getting traffic from any new affiliates. And even we show you their new display ads that they've released. So in PPC and SEO, you may not think that that matters to you. However, being armed with all of that information makes you a stronger marketer. And this feature here, interestingly, is one of the biggest features used by CMOs. So we want to encourage search marketers to use this feature more, so you have the insight to take to your leadership to give them. You get the whole view of your market just from one dashboard. It's extremely easy to set up. It probably takes about 2 minutes. And you get these insights every month. We even deliver an email to you to tell you these insights. So there we go. That's competitive trackers. And I think that's one of our really, really big improvements we've made for 3.0. But I work at Similarweb, so it's all very well me telling you why it's good to use us, but I want to hear from some of our users. So Kev, or Jev, as I called you earlier, I'm going to hand over to you. So you're head of SEO at Vertu Motors, and I know you've got so much experience in this area. So I'd love for you to walk us through your platform and your use cases, but first maybe give everyone an insight into what your goals are as an SEO team and how you're set up.
Yeah, no worries at all. Yeah, I'm going to have to shake that name as well. That's not sticking.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, I think with Vertu Motors, the SEO team internally is a relatively new team. There's a team of 5 SEOs, and we've only been here about 12 months. As a business, we've invested massively from a digital marketing perspective. So with Vertu Motors, the PLC and the group as itself, you know, we're in a unique position because we've actually got an internal development team where they build everything from a proprietary perspective, from dealership systems to business analytics. So SEO is almost like an extra string to the bow. For me, one of the big challenges that I do have, though, is I'm not just one website. I'm not like a typical in-house SEO. Vertu Motors actually has a myriad of different companies. So we run Bristol Street Motors, Vertu Motors, Macklin Motors, as well as other businesses such as like Vans Direct, Taxi Centre. So it's all automotive related, but ultimately we have a huge range of different competitors for the different business types that we have. They all come with their own individual challenges. So for us, our main aim from an SEO perspective is, you know, keeping up to speed with the competitors, keeping up to speed with the online visibility. So our aims are ultimately trying to improve that organic visibility online and touching all of the, like I say, the user journey points I mentioned earlier, whether it's a research and informational search right the way through transactional, because I effectively run informational brochure websites right the way through to e-commerce websites within Vertu Motors. So it's a pretty big challenge overall, to be honest with you.
Well, that does sound challenging, especially with today's market. So let's go into how you use Similarweb to address some of those things and support you on the way. So Baruch, if you go to the next slide, we can start with Kev's kind of use case.
So the main thing that we use Similarweb for, amongst many things, is obviously within the marketing team, we pay attention to competitors. The business pays massive attention to competitors. You know, making sure that we are doing the right thing, making sure that you know, the competitors are doing wrong things. But it's also important to pay attention to those companies that are on the rise as well. So as a PLC, we know who the big players are in the market. We know who the automotive giants are. But when it comes to you know, some of the smaller websites, we're interested to know who the top players are, who those rising websites are, who's emerging out of nowhere, because you know, as a business, you know, we might not have paid them any attention, but online they're actually smashing it. So we use the automotive industry sort of insights within Similarweb to give us an idea of who the market leaders are. It allows us to quickly understand, you know, whether the top competitors who we class as the top competitors are actually continuing to be those top competitors online, or whether they're sitting on the laurels and relying on just the brand name to push them forward, or you know, have they shifted the dial, moved a lot more budget into paid, or have they moved organically, etc. But like I say, it also allows us to see who the rising players are, and we can see that on a monthly basis to see, you know, okay, we should probably start paying attention to these guys. And that's where we can use the tool to sort of investigate them in a little bit more detail, basically. So like I mentioned earlier on, we've got competitor audiences, and we know who our main competitors are. So we still have to focus on them whilst, you know, looking over our shoulders and doing the rising players. But one of the challenges the internal team have is, you know, we want to kind of see where the customers are actually hanging out, and more importantly, with whom they're actually hanging out with. So, you know, obviously I've blanked the competitors in the screenshot. I don't want to give away all the secrets, but, you know, it allows us to see where a competitor has visited our website and then left and joined a competitor's website. So it allows us to see that journey. It allows us to see if that competitor is really a true competitor. You know, what type of content that, you know, the users are leaving our website for and going to the competitor. But it also works in reverse. It allows us to see who's visiting a competitor website first and then who's actually landing on our website. So it just allows us from a business standpoint to sort of inform the business that, you know, a particular website that isn't a particular competitor anymore. You know, we're internal. I mean, in-house SEO, opinion is rife throughout the business. So I can use this data to particularly and really just back that up. So I think from that point on, the next step that we kind of look at from a tool perspective is it allows us to better understand the type of content, the type of websites the competitors are actually relying on from a traffic perspective. Now that might be referral traffic in the traditional sense, you know, where are they getting a lot of their traffic from? But we actually use this as a business for outreach ideation and also to identify sort of online partnerships as well. So, you know, we've got, like I say, a huge internal digital marketing team. We've got brand advertising in here, for example. So this is a great way for us to say, you know what, this competitor is actually getting quite a lot of traffic from these 3 main websites. We've got partnerships with 1 of them, 2 of them. There's an opportunity for us to have a little look at that, so we can actually, you know, identify who we need to improve upon ultimately, and just strike up those relationships. And then, yeah, I think new content. This is key for us. You know, we monitor all of the competitors. We monitor them for everything, but we operate in so many different sort of little niche markets that it allows us to see that the content that is proven to be popular on the competitor websites. So, you know, seasonal, we know what's going to come up. You know, winter's coming up, so it's going to be all about the you know, how to de-ice your windscreen, all the usual stuff. Don't use a credit card, by the way. But ultimately, we want to sort of look at the content from competitors, see where the spikes are happening, see what's the new most popular content, and then it allows us to kind of emulate that content and improve upon it. And it allows us to also identify content gaps in our own offerings as well. You know, what the competitors talking about? Is there an opportunity in the market for us? And this is great from an organic perspective to create new content, to create something that's going to attract outreach, etc. But it also allows us from a business perspective to say, you know what, as a service offering, there's an opportunity here at the same time. So the tool just allows us to be informed across many different parts of the business touch points. And then, yeah, the keyword generator. You know, we use Keyword Planner from other companies, but the keyword generator that we have here is really, really insightful for us because we've identified the competitors and we can just plow straight into the keyword generator and it can give us ideas of content targeting or keyword targeting to identify. I think the secondary part as well is it allows us to split between transactional and informational. To get that information, I kind of need to use 2 or 3 different tools together and a little bit of Excel at the same time. But Similarweb's great for this because it allows me to have a little look into that and just filter down, you know, is it an informational term from a SERP perspective, and what type of content do we need to create to target that user ultimately. And then I'm kind of jumping the gun a little bit for Gabby, unfortunately, but the rank tracker that you have released is really helpful. It's got one key differentiating part for me, which was, you know, a standout. A lot of rank trackers do just the UK rankings. There's no way to really drill down. As a company at Vertu, we basically have nationwide dealerships, but we have a big group of Scottish dealerships, Vertu Motors. So it's really important for us to understand what the true ranking position is in Scotland, because if we do it, you know, based on IPs and a whole host of other variety issues, you know, local search, etc. Ranking for something like used cars in Glasgow is, are we truly number one for that phrase, or you know, is it just a UK bias that's happening? So it allows us to really drill down into those locations. So yeah, the local focus for the rank trackers proved to be very key for us. That's
great, Kev. I'm for anyone based in Scotland, we haven't forgotten you. So and throughout the globe, we actually go down to zip code, postcode level as well. So we do appreciate that rank tracking is a very local thing. And thank you, Kev. It's so nice to hear how you use Similarweb. And as an SEO department, like I mentioned before, it's not just about the simple SEO, it's about audience analysis, it's about market analysis. There's a lot that SEO has evolved into, and it's great to see you and your team using Similarweb for all of that. So next up, we've got more the paid side of things, although I know, Jen, you're very holistic in your approach. So do you like to kind of explain your role at Search Laboratory and then move into your use case as well?
Yeah, sure. So hi, everyone. I'm Jen. As I said, I'm head of campaign management at Search Laboratory, and we are a digital marketing agency. So our main aim is to drive profitable growth for our clients. As you said, it is more of a holistic role that we have because we actually specialize in PPC, SEO, paid social, display, conversion rate optimization, and we underpin all of that with digital strategy analytics support as well. And then we also have an international offering. So there's lots of things that we use Similarweb for across different markets to help pull those insights. My role specifically, so I lead the digital account managers and strategists, and we create digital strategies that we then go on to implement for clients. And a really important part of those strategies is understanding the marketing landscape and how our clients can drive growth within those as well. So that's a very quick overview of who we are. Just on the next slides, we've just got some examples of what we usually do. So I have a confession, I am quite an avid user of Similarweb. I tend to use it for weekly summaries, monthly reports, ad hoc basis, opportunity spotting. But what I wanted to do is just give a quick overview of how I tend to tap into it on a weekly basis, or where I tend to start. So it tends to be from the top and then filter down, depending on the opportunities that we find. And that all starts on understanding the traffic insights that you, once you plug in your competitor set. So from there, you can understand the trends of traffic for the competitors and what's going on there. I tend to then drill into what's on the screen now, which is that channel overview of how are competitors driving traffic to their site. Are they investing in paid media? Are they relying more on own channels, or are they exploring something new that we might not have noticed or spotted previously that we could also take inspiration from? So I really find this a good way to start that investigation for our clients to work out, how does our activity compare to theirs? Are we visible in the same spaces? Are we competing against one another? Or should we be trying something new just like they are as well? Just on the next slide, you mentioned paid previously, and because paid media is something that changes so quickly, I do tend to dive into that afterwards. I find it really useful to get an understanding of what paid media activity competitors are up to. So one really useful way I like to start this and do investigations is understanding their paid search traffic. So what terms are they bidding on in the search space? How are they driving traffic to their site? How reliant are they on some of their own brand terms versus non-brand terms? I find that a really useful way to understand the sort of weightings of how their budgets could be split, and how much they're focusing on new growth, say with non-brand terms. On the example here, I've also included how you can start to pull out opportunities from that as well. So within non-brand, we have different keyword types that are based on intent. So with PPC, traditionally, a lot more of it is conversion-based because you're investing money into it. You want to see conversions off the back of that. But what we have spotted is, and found opportunities from with our accounts, is understanding where non-brand opportunities, competitors are bidding on research terms, where they're offering resources or guides for their users to try and get in front of them earlier on in their purchasing journey as well. So just got an example on the slide there of free resources that a competitor had been investing in within paid media in order to drive additional traffic to their site, which they then can gain data points from that user and then remarket to them. That's something that helps us to justify to our clients that, you know, we should be growing in this area, we should be visible in this area. We know that it's something that is driving traffic for competitors, so we should absolutely be testing that as part of our paid search plans as well. Just on the next slide, so I've talked a lot about search, and back to one of the challenges and questions that I get a lot from clients, particularly this year, has been on overall market share. So I find this dashboard really useful to understand how we are visible in comparison to different competitors. Sometimes it gives reassurance to clients, like you said, that yes, if things have dropped in a week or in a month, that's generally the industry trend that we're seeing overall. Or similarly, actually off the back of these actions that we've implemented, we've managed to gain some market share there. So let's continue with that, or let's test something new within that area, because we know that that tactic's working for us as well. So this is also really useful insight that I like to pull out for accounts. Brand protection. So I've spoken a lot about budgets previously, and one of the first questions, particularly within PPC, is, are we spending too much on brand? Should we be pulling back on that? Can we afford to pull back on that? Are competitors bidding on our brand? Can we try and reinvest that into growth terms, more generic? That's absolutely something that we would love to find the balance on for clients. And the new brand protection feature that we've got, that helps us to monitor what competitors are bidding on our branded terms. What does that look like over time? What sort of messaging are they pushing versus what headlines we've got in ours as well? So it's really good to get an understanding of what's going on in that space, so that we can now help navigate those conversations with clients as well. And we can be on the front foot to suggest rolling out tests for accounts, how we should approach those tests, and what we should expect from them once they are underway, just so that we can help to spot opportunities, make sure we're investing in the right areas for non-brand if we can, and then also being able to feedback what the impact of that has been and the approach that we should take with our tests within PPC as well. So that's also been a very useful feature that we've been able to use.
That's great, Jen. Thank you. Oh, you've got another one.
Oh, one more on paid media. Sorry, this is good though. So another area that we tend to look into, and this is always led by what those overall trends are saying from the first slide that I had on the different marketing channels. Another example is the display activity. You mentioned about being able to see those creatives that competitors are pushing. Again, that's something that I find really useful to check in on and make sure that any new display activity that competitors are running, where are they pushing that? What publications are they trying to get in front of to tap into their audiences? And what key headlines or creative approach are they using for their tactics as well? So one more, but still very useful slide from me.
That's great. Thanks, Jen. It's also, I love how you talk about testing. It's so important in our industry, and to have the data behind it, and also the inspiration from competitors. They're not always the enemy. Sometimes they can be a very useful enemy as well. So actually moving on from that, we're going to have another poll. So I'm interested from the audience of who currently integrates their PPC and SEO strategy, and what that looks like. And in the meantime, Gabby, I know that you've been working on both PPC and SEO products for the last year. So what have you seen in the landscape that's made you kind of think about them more holistically?
For sure. So we do have two products that we're going to talk about today, Rank Tracker and Brand Protection, one that's more SEO focused and one that's more PPC focused. But at the end of the day, and we'll talk about it a bit more shortly, there is one SERP that holds all of this, right? Paid ads, organic features, organic results. And when developing these tools, you'll see that we think of them as one. So although they have their specific focus, we integrate analyzing rank and other metrics also from a holistic perspective. And
Jen, just I know you just spoke about quite a few things there, but just from your point of view, why is it so important that you look at the holistic landscape for your clients?
Mm-hmm. I think for us, we just need to make sure that we're sharing data amongst the two channels. It is one search space that a user has, and it's becoming more and more competitive within both disciplines, both within organic and PPC. It's becoming more challenging to make sure that you are visible within those spaces. So for us, we always want to ensure that we have a joined up approach for search overall, and that we're sharing insights amongst the two channels, and that we are adjusting our budgets to make sure that we're capitalizing on new opportunities where we can, say within PPC or within organic as well.
So interestingly, we've got kind of 21% are saying that they're well coordinated, 36% are saying they're starting to integrate them, but the majority, 43%, are saying not really. So Baruch, as a man who develops products for both solutions, I'd love for you to tell people why it would be beneficial for them to bring these two things together.
Yeah, so yes, holistic SERP and some of the example we heard before are definitely, and you will see also in a moment, sometimes you just cannot win the SERP overnight in organic, and you have to basically consider alternatives at that moment. And sometimes you are having a mix of investment that are short-term and long-term, and so you want to see how you balance them. But I guess another big challenge that I have seen in organization is just the currency of speaking internally. And so while the paid people are sitting in paid search, they're sitting under the paid umbrella of like, where is our money going, and how we actually spending the paid within how they're driving traffic into the website. It almost it's always about what is our return on ad spend, or what is our return on the cost per click. And that conversation sometimes is not always happening together with the organic folks who are mostly talking to their content peeps or to their developers to fix some of the technical issues that they may have on the website. And so it's actually a missed opportunity, just sometimes through a language that is internally not being communicated, because at the end of the day, it is one SERP. And as consumer, we are treating it as one SERP in many cases. So I think that we should encourage each other to learn more about it and collaborate better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think hopefully we've convinced that 44% who are not integrated at the moment that there is power in integration. So on that point, let's move on to some of the tools that we have developed. And I really want to give you guys, it's not really a promotional look at what we're doing, but more of a behind the scenes from a product point of view and a development point of view, which is why we've brought Gabby along, who's our product manager. So Gabby, when we're talking about taking search marketing to the next level, and we're talking about that SERP being one, let's start off with the rank tracker and a bit of the behind the scenes of how you came to develop it and what you ended up with.
Yeah, so we're going to start with rank tracker. Rank trackers, and maybe most of you guys are already using a rank tracker today. They've been around for years, But when most of these products were made, it was a really completely different search landscape. And no one expected the SERP, or at least I didn't, to change so quickly. And it's still changing, and I think more now than ever before. So when developing our rank tracker, we wanted to create something brilliant that's user-friendly, that you can use on a daily basis, great filters and everything you'd expect. But above anything else, we wanted to create something that's reflective of today, this holistic SERP that we keep discussing, and also tomorrow's world, that's going to help you track your true position on the SERP. And that means we would have to look at an angle of, yes, organic results, but also the influence of paid and organic features. So actually, one of the unique things that we did here was to first create an in-house parser, which basically means we can decide all the data that is reflected on the SERP and what to present to you. Google's changing things on a daily basis, and not everything sticks. And that changing landscape and those fluctuations is super important that we keep up with them. One of those, like a small example, is if they add a feature today, right? It does stick. We'll monitor that over time. And from one day to the next, we have the flexibility with our in-house parser to basically reflect that in the product. So by us having full control, it basically means that our customers have full control as well. This includes also the ability to go local. So as Kev mentioned, his importance as a business to reflect that true SERP, there's just so many different configurations to the SERP device, location to a local level, language that influence your positioning and your impact. So that was one of the core things as well that we brought in that was a fundamental. So really, yeah, that's it. That's it for me.
No,
I could talk about it for hours.
It's not it from you, Gabby. Baruch, if you go on to the next slide, Gabby, you can give us a look into, you spoke about the SERP as a whole and like having our in-house parser. I think this like is really nice in explaining what's actually come up in the product.
So I'm actually giving you a sneak peek here into something that's coming out next week. And it's our SERP features report. So like I said, we've done lots of things that you know and love in rank tracking, but we want to give you much more. So on the left-hand side here, you see the overview of what this report is going to look like, but I'm giving you a little snippet at the top of something I want to focus on. Something Jen also spoke about is like where to invest, what to do with our time. It's so complicated, and it's one SERP. So this view is supposed to give you an idea, a very clear concept of what the first page of the SERP looks like, what it's composed of. So the breakdown of organic results, paid results, and organic features. And that can be at the level of one keyword, a tag, so a group of keywords, or your entire campaign of keywords that you're tracking. So right below, you're seeing the search term running shoes, and the SERP has tons of paid ads, SERP features, organic results, and dissecting that it can be really challenging of where my business can have impact and where should I invest to win. Once I understand that and I can say, all right, 90% of the first page is consumed by organic results, I can make a decision not to go within SERP features and paid over time, just also keeping track of those fluctuations over time, but also getting that other perspective of, hey, there's somewhere else that I can play. It's probably influencing my clicks, my traffic. Where should I play? And taking you deeper and deeper and deeper into which SERP features on a daily basis, my influence, my competitors' influence on which keywords, and what should I do next.
And actually, on that point, the next slide, Baruch, if you go on, it is about competitors. And this is my favorite view because I think most rank trackers are really lacking in good competitor information.
Yeah. So one of the things that when we were developing our rank tracker, not only as a business as Similarweb, that we pride ourselves that we are on the best in competitive insights, and that's really, really important to us. But we spoke with customers and we saw other tools, and a lot of tools couldn't reflect competitive insights in rank tracking to its full extent. Either you would have to pay more to get more insights on more competitors, and even the competitors that you got, you weren't necessarily able to decide what to do with them, just that they were present, that they were there, they play on a number of keywords. You didn't get enough insights into those trends over time, into which keywords and how do I optimize to win. So I'm also really proud of this report. It was just released about a week and a half ago. And what you see here on the left-hand side is basically a bubble graph of the landscape of your competitors that for all the keywords that you're tracking. But if you can see me sliding around there, you're not just getting a snapshot, which is what you'll see in a lot of different tools. And maybe you would have had to extract that data to see those trends over time. So you can quickly identify leading competitors, emerging competitors, who is my true competition on the SERP over time, and then allow me to drill down. And the table below will show you every single competitor. We're not limiting the number of competitors, and you have to buy more. Every single element that we all see on the SERP, we feel it's important that you have access to their keywords, visibility, weighted average position, and many more advanced metrics. And that element again of saying, all right, now what do I do, right? They compete on 100 of my keywords. I see they have great visibility on the SERP and they're stealing, X amount of traffic and getting X amount of clicks. What do I do? So what you see on the right-hand side here is basically we give you access to every single keyword that they're ranking on, their position, your position, which SERP features they're playing on versus you, in which locations you're tracking. You can always hover over those keywords and see the SERP. And what you don't see here as well is that you can actually go see the actual SERP scraped for that day. So there's tons of functionality here in one view to help you drill down and really decipher the right keywords to optimize for to win on the SERP. Besides the fact that we loop you back in to everything you know and love of Similarweb, you found a competitor that you're interested, a keyword, what other keywords? And looping you back into keyword research, what is their traffic and engagement, and more and more.
I think there's so much there. I don't think an SEO will be able to do all of that.
Well, we've made it simple. We've made it simple. Like I said, the whole concept is to be usable and to help you drill down slowly from high level. And I think Jen mentioned that I start at the high and go lower. So all that within one flow.
It's amazing, Gabby. I really love this. And who doesn't love a bubble graph as well? I've never seen that in a platform before. So I absolutely love the movement of it. And then we're going to finish up just on brand protection. Jen mentioned brand protection and how it's useful, especially with looking at like emerging competitors, people bidding on your brand terms. So I think, Gabby, you've got like a bit of a sneak peek of what's coming up with it.
Yeah. So in Jen's slides, you actually saw what it looks like today, and you're getting a sneak peek of the concept of what it's going to look like tomorrow over this next quarter. So when we were developing our rank tracker, we were watching the whole SERP, like I said, and we had easy access to provide our customers with daily visibility into the competitors that are bidding on your important search terms. Specifically, our first use case was brand protection, to protect your branded terms. Second was to monitor search ads in general. And third, as Jen has been using it slightly, is to discover leading competitors, but also emerging competitors. So as of today, you get daily email alerts, you have an in-platform report, but from tomorrow, you'll be able to have clear visualizations into the competitive landscape. How many competitors, what are the changes over time, how many landing pages, how many competitor ads, and an easier drill down into those competitors, their visibility share, which ads, how long have they been active for, and be able to drill down into their content. And again, like we've mentioned before as well, perform different tests and make those decisions from this report. And everything here will also have access over this next quarter to API as well.
That's great. I think brand protection is so smart. And I think we talked about the merging SEO and PPC together, I don't just see this as a tool for paid marketers. I see it as a tool for marketers in general. Guys, we've had a few questions. If there's any more questions, put them in the Q&A because we can answer them at the end. One of the biggest ones is, are we recording this and can we share it? Yes, we're recording it and we will share it with everyone who's signed up. And I want to end, Baruch, with a bit of a note on data. So we've talked about data throughout. Obviously, everything is based on data. From your point of view as such a leader in this field and from all of your experience, what's the importance of data, like good data for search marketers, especially right now?
So data is a big word, but I would say to you now we're in a very turbulent times, and in these turbulent times, it's almost like a compass, right? It gives you a view into where should I be actually spending my time, and I say as the compass because as marketers, we have limited time, we have limited resources, we can't do everything, and we have to prioritize, and our time should be spent on the things that are. Our time is very precious, and we should spend it on a campaign that will bring the best results. And so not having the data is actually walking blind. That's my very first thing. And then the second thing is, and probably I'm sure Jen can speak to it, but like when you bring an outside point of view into an organization, it's almost like shaking or challenging a lot of strategy or thinking about what we think as an organization we are or should be. But then it's like, well, this is what the consumer is saying. This is where they are. This is where they're spending their time. And that changed a conversation, which is more like, okay, are we where the consumer are? Are we joining them in the right places? And I think without that data, it's almost like it's your best friend. So like just bring it with you and like share it. And actually sometimes just knowing that this is what's happening, it opens a whole new conversation, even a strategic conversation in an organization. Which product to build? What should customer success look like? And maybe with Kev is like, when should I actually book my my next appointment with the mechanics? In which days of the week? So like, I think there's just like so many things that are bringing back into the business as not just doing to marketing, but actually how to think about our business as well. So love data. Keep bringing the data, guys.
Excellent. Yeah. That's great, Baruch. And I think I think the first sentence you said, it's our compass in these times, is so important. And actually from that, we've got a couple of questions now. So we're going to move into the Q&A session now. So any more questions, just type in. We've got a couple of minutes to answer them. Actually, and all the questions so far we've got are about the data. So Baruch, I'm going to hand this to you. It's around kind of traffic number and search volume. So people are asking, is it the same as Google Analytics? How do we collect the data? Baruch, can you talk to that a bit more for the audience?
Yeah, so I mean, Similarweb is all about data, first and foremost. We are harnessing many data sources throughout a variety of signals. Some of it is also a contributing network of organizations that have contributed their own sort of analytics data also with us. But the real thing is, I think what you mentioned earlier, Adele, is the real user data behavior. And that real user data behavior is a big pillar to what we bring, which in many ways provides us a lot of differentiation to, especially for search, things around the monthly search volume, because we are not holding back for Google to publish their search volume and then decide, well, we're going to give you an estimate based on where you rank. Like, we actually saw people looking for these things and visiting these pages. And so we believe, let's give you this visibility so you know what is currently happening and trending. For us, this is a core pillar. And that's why in many ways you might see our search volume not exactly aligned with an average trended 12 months of what Google put in their Google ads. And so you'll see from us like differences in types of topics. We don't necessarily always cluster topics on purpose because we give you how things are actually showing up. And so we, at the end of the day, these are all algorithmic ways that we've developed clearly over the years, evaluating them based on many data sets that are provided to us and we collect them, as well as the real contributing network, and then we keep furnishing them, testing them. We don't just put, that's why you don't see us in places where we don't have enough confidence to put the data that we could give you good estimation behind traffic and engagement metrics.
That's great. Thank you, Baruch. I think the robustness and the differentiator of our data is one of the key things that's really valued by our customers. And we saw from not Ken and Jeff, Kev and Jen every time, that you guys use it in such a variety of ways, from like seeing what the audience do to seeing what competitors do. It really does pay off to see those real user searches in there. Another question we've got is why we're not sharing the webinar that we did 2 days ago. We will be sharing that. So Ahmed, I can see Natalie's answering you now. We'll make sure that you definitely get that separately as well. And I think that's it for all of the questions. So thanks everyone for your participation today in all of the polls. Jen and Kev got it right this time. Thank you so much for showing us how you use Similarweb. And Baruch and Gabby for giving us a bit more behind the scenes information. So we'll leave it there today. This session has been recorded, so we will send it out to you. And for anyone who's got colleagues who weren't able to make it, the webinar is going out to everyone who signed up. So thank you so much for joining, and till next time.